Hello everyone and welcome back to the UConn Huskies Dynasty. UConn is coming off of, let's be honest, a pretty embarrassing loss to the Georgia Bulldogs where the offense just basically could not do anything. And to be honest, the defense at times was not much better. Now, I don't want to overreact and just immediately change the whole depth chart because things went poorly. I do still think we have a very good roster that can contend in the playoffs that maybe just has to go through some growing pains here early in the season. I didn't really want to play Georgia this early because I kind of knew that it might be a little bit of a struggle to find the form that we had last season with all of the new faces, especially on the defense. One thing that is going to be changed is Nate Putu starting instead of Parker Sims at free safety. I do have a little bit of concern with the lack of speed for Putu, only 84 versus the 88 of Sims. His play recognition is way higher. I know that Sims has a lot better zone coverage, but Putu is a better tackler, and I tend to prefer a safety that can be a good tackler with guys like Byler and Dora. And you're also potentially going to start seeing a little bit more of Justice Willis. The second strong safety tends to find his way onto the field a lot. In the past, that has been Nate Putu. Now that Putu has been promoted to one of these starting safeties, it's going to be Justice Willis. The reason I like Willis in this role is due to the high play recognition and the good ability to tackle and the very high hit power. At corner, we are going to keep it the same for one more week. I'm going to hope that the game against Georgia was a bit of an outlier. If it's not, we're going to give Duggan another chance and continue to kind of move things around until we like what we see. Before we move on to next week's matchup against TCU, I have moved some points around on our recruiting board to schedule Anferny Cantrell and Taylor Thrasher for visits. We are losing ground a bit on Thrasher. It seems like Oregon is very big on him, and we are currently in the lead on Cantrell, but not by much. So both players have been scheduled for a visit during our second home game of the season. That's against Kansas State in week number 6. As for other recruiting, we're still doing quite well. Some points have been removed from certain players where we had a gigantic lead so that we could afford to do those visits. So we will go ahead and advance through the bye week, see if any changes happen to the top 25 in the country. To be honest, Taylor Thrasher is unbelievably close to committing to Oregon. I think we just need to back out of this one. Take our points back. He's going to Oregon. There's not a lot of a point. So Taylor Thrasher has been removed from the board. Unfortunately, we scheduled that visit and wasted the 40 points for a week. I thought we could keep it close enough that it would still be a possibility that he commits during the K-State game. Unfortunately, not the case. But that does mean we have 145 more points to work with that we can put into certain players. One of the guys I really want to get is Lewis Norden. We're now going to schedule Norden for that visit in week number 6. We're still in first, but it looks like Ohio State is gaining more than us. And I've also added a new wide receiver to the board in Greg Kelly. We do probably need to get a couple receivers in this class, and I think Kelly looks pretty good. UConn did move up a spot during the bye week as Alabama loses to USC and drops down to 12th. Ohio State also suffering a loss to Georgia, who's continuing to make teams look stupid. 26-14 the final there. Ohio State drops to 9th. So Georgia looking like the real best team in the country. Utah also suffers a really bad loss to North Carolina. They drop out of the top 5 and even the top 10 down to 14. So this will be the home opener for the UConn Huskies as they face off against TCU for what is the first time in this series. TCU is a very good football team with good overalls. They have a win over FCS Southeast Minnesota and then a loss to Purdue so far on the season. They'll face us and then Utah back to back before a couple of bye weeks. They are led by redshirt freshman quarterback Alex Trinidad, who does look like he has a ton of potential to be absolutely elite in the future if he's already this good as a freshman. Reminds me a lot of John Pelshak, to be honest. But their number one weapons are tight ends. They have 2 tight ends over 90 overall with Quincy Okafor and Nick Dahl. And then even their third string guy, Steve Bean, is pretty good. It does appear that Okafor is maybe a bit more of a blocking tight end without great speed. And then honestly, they're just solid at the major skill positions. Sean Thompson doesn't look like a stud, but he's pretty solid. And they're pretty deep at receiver with good speed with Josh DiNucci. Welcome home, everyone. For the first time this season, for the first time since winning the national championship, the UConn Huskies are back in front of the home crowd. After a loss to the Georgia Bulldogs, they're looking to bounce back in the conference opener against a TCU team that is no slouch. Let's see if UConn can get it done. And we'll get to see the UConn defense first against Alex Trinidad and the TCU offense. Lots of question marks for the DBs coming into this game, but Trinidad will look to throw, testing them immediately. It's nearly picked by John Catopano. Second down after the incompletion. And it's another fake handoff. Trinidad looking downfield, finding his target over the head of Randy Radovich. And it's a big first down for Emilio Costanzo. I didn't feel like the coverage was bad there. It simply just wasn't good enough as Trinidad on the read option has a big pickup. He's near the 30, can't shake the Nate Putu tackle, but gets inside the 30 down at the 29. The Horned Frogs on the move early. Trinidad out of the pistol. Goes read option again, hands off to the halfback, breaks the tackle, and he's into the open field, and TCU scores very quickly on their opening drive. Touchdown, Horned Frogs, and a terrible showing once again from this defense. The read option has cooked us in years past. Is that going to be more of the case today? So out very quickly is the UConn offense. Defense kind of letting them down to start the day. 1st and 10 from their own 25. Max Cadet will get the carry and won't get very far. On 2nd and 8, Kareem Ursua is the man in motion, and he will get the jet touch pass, makes a move to cut it upfield, getting about 4 yards. A 3rd and 4 for the Huskies from their own 31. Pelshak back to throw. He wants his tight end. Catch is made. And a first down for UConn. Approaching midfield now, Ursua the back, but Pelshak to throw, and he finds, this is the true freshman wide receiver actually, Emmett Goda with a pickup of 7. Goda might play a few times this season. We don't want to burn his redshirt status, but I do want to see what he has as a freshman, get him some experience, as this is going to be a carry for Cadet, runs over one, and gets to the TCU 45. Ursua checks back in, and he will get the carry here. Has to make a move back to the inside of Manny Smith. Gets 5. 2nd and 5, empty for John, as he's back to pass, running out of time, looking for Dalton Schmizniak, but needed about a second more. Another 3rd down situation for UConn. And again, looking Schmizniak's way, finds his man, and Pelshak has a first down for his team inside the 20. So slow and steady for UConn, unlike the TCU drive, as Cadet gets a carry and gets about 6. 2nd and 4, Pelshak back to pass. Flag is down. Pelshak just going to throw this one away. And that looks like it's going to be a holding penalty on the right guard, A.J. Kunazik. 2nd and 14 after the penalty. Throwing quickly and incomplete in the direction of Jeffrey Ritchie. 3rd and long, they'll try again. Pelshak back to pass. Scrambling, runs out of time again as the left side of this O-line continues to struggle. So we bring on Hollis for a field goal attempt. Kick is on its way and through. So 3 for UConn, unable to match the TCU drive. So will TCU be able to do what they did on their first drive? The read option working very well, and another decent start, although I think the moves kind of hurt Sean Thompson there more than they helped him. 2nd and 9, still out of the shotgun for Trinidad. Thompson to his right. It's an RPO, need a good tackle, and we get it from Justice Willis, and there is an injured lineman for the Horned Frogs. Gives us a 3rd down and 8 from their own 27. UConn looking for a stop. Trinidad with time to throw downfield, and what is Alex Fayyad doing? Touchdown TCU. I mentioned it in the previous episode. This UConn DB room, it's not a personnel issue, it's an experience issue. They just do not have the experience they need. That would be a pick. If that was George Kiki, if it was AJ Hepburn, if it was Jamie Santos, it doesn't matter. Instead, Fayyad gets confused, loses the ball completely, and Costanzo has 6 more for the Horned Frogs. This is feeling like it's going to be one of those seasons where UConn just has to try to keep up offensively to stand a chance. 1st and 10 from the 25. Pelshak hands off Cadet, and so far that keeping up not really happening. 2nd down, Pelshak is back to pass, and he's going to fumble the football, recovered by the guard, and losing 11 yards. 3rd and 21 coming up. So it's 3rd and a mile. Pelshak steps back to pass. And he wants the freshman wideout, Emmett Goda, who has a step on his man and makes a play. Emmett Goda into TCU territory. That's a play it felt like we absolutely had to have. First and 10 Huskies as we're back to pass again. We're looking for Jeffrey Ritchie further down the field, and he holds on through the contact. In the red zone now for UConn. Cadet on the carry to the outside. Does he have the speed to get to the end zone? No. Chased down by the linebacker. But a great pickup for Max Cadet. Inside the 5, this is kind of where Cadet excels. So, of course, you know he's getting the football, and into the end zone he goes. Touchdown, UConn. And that is more like it from the offense. Some explosive plays back-to-back, and then a Max Cadet rushing touchdown. You love to see it. Now, the defense just needs to figure things out. First and 10 TCU, scoring very quickly on their first 2 drives. If they keep up that kind of pace, it's going to be a long day for UConn. Pickup of 2 here for Thompson. That play that Alex Fiad gave up, it was great coverage. He was right where he needed to be. I guess he just lost sight of the football. And now over the middle, Justice Willis has to make a tackle, but it's a first down for TCU. Trinidad having no issues facing the blitz. We've been unable to get home on any of these pressure attempts. Thompson on a carry gets 4. 2nd and 6 from the 41. Trinidad hands off. Thompson again. He's going to be shy of the yard to gain. Bringing up a 3rd and 2. TCU could go to the ground here. A man jumped. I think Keogh's getting called with the penalty, and that is a free first down gifted to TCU. And that is something that Adonis Keogh has struggled with during his time at UConn, jumping off sides fairly consistently. This is completed over the middle for a pickup of 8. Beginning of the second quarter, it is 2nd and 2. Trinidad gonna just dump this off to Thompson, who is technically shy of the marker. 3rd and an inch. I don't even know if that's inches plural, as this is incomplete in the direction of the tight end, and they are actually bringing on the field goal unit despite it being maybe 2 inches to go. This is an exceptionally long kick as well. 56, 57 yards. Lined up pretty well though. Kick on its way, and it's gonna bounce off the post and out. No good. And now the door is open for UConn to take the lead. The kicker, apparently not realizing he missed, hits the silencer. So good starting field position. Possibly some momentum for the Huskies. 1st and 10 from the 39. Pelshak back to pass. Throws immediately for Dalton Schmizniak, who will pick up 5. 2nd down. Pelshak back to pass again. He's got Emmett Goda wide open over the middle. Emmett Goda makes a move and gets to the 42. 3 catches for 64 for the freshman Emmett Goda. Having a nice debut here as a Husky. As Cadet gets a carry, trying to find some room up the middle. I think there was a small window there that he missed. Now a 2nd and 7. Pelshak will throw for Dalton Schmizniak. Has a blocker downfield, and Max Cadet makes a man miss and goes down at the 21. Something has just clicked for this UConn offense. Suddenly things are going very well. As Kareem Ursua will get a carry and picks up 6. So a 2nd and medium. Cadet gonna get a run to the outside. Needs to beat this man around the edge, and he does, running over 1. Did he get the first? I'm not sure due to the injury, but he's very close. And he did indeed get the first down. So it is 1st and goal from just inside the 10. We're in the Wildcat. Haven't seen much of that so far this year. Cadet, the quarterback, will keep it. Lead blocker is Ursua, but there's really not much there. From the 8, Pelshak back in as the quarterback. Wants his tight end, Juan Beaver, and that's a touchdown for the Huskies. The new tight end 1, Juan Beaver, makes the catch and gets into the end zone for 6. And after the bad start, the Huskies have found themselves with the lead about halfway through the second quarter. So a good stand ultimately from the defense at the end of the last TCU drive, but it was kind of more of the same at the start. A good carry for Thompson here? No. He's only going to get a couple. We definitely can't sleep on this TCU team. I think they are possibly legitimate contenders in the Big 12 this year. So they set up the running back screen, block picked up on Dennis Colin Thompson with a lot of running room as he meets a couple of the safeties, but has the first. They approach midfield under 7 minutes in the half. Quick throw from Trinidad finds his target. We struggle a lot against these option offenses, which TCU seems to run. And down goes Trinidad. It's recovered. And on his way to the end zone is Siaki Toole to the 10. No one's going to catch him. And it's a fumble returned for a touchdown for Siaki Toole. UConn extends their lead. The defense making an impact. The D-line especially. I think it's Darren Michelle that forced that one out. We'll take a look at the replay. Right here, it is indeed Darren Michelle forcing the fumble. Siaki Toole with elite speed takes it for 6. 1st and 10 TCU. Finally, the defense making itself known. 24 points from UConn here in the first half. I thought that pass was intended for the ref. 6 minutes left in the second quarter. 2nd and 10. It's going to be a speed option. Trinidad going to hold on to it, though. And I believe that is Alan Rudock on the tackle. A 3rd down and 7 situation for the Horned Frogs. 5.5 to play. Michelle trying to get pressure again. Good block picked up. Trinidad takes off, but Siaki Toole is in the middle. Has the fumble return touchdown. And now also makes a play to end this drive. After a rocky start, UConn up by 10 with possession of the ball. They are in full control right now. Max Cadet, good running lane. And he gets a first to the 48. 2nd down after an incompletion. Pelshak will call an audible and then looks to throw. He has Emmett Goda on that drag route again, and Goda has some wear and tear pop up just then I saw, but makes a really good play. Emmett Goda not wasting his opportunities. Might end up with over 100 yards today. This is going to be a handoff to Max Cadet, trying to bounce it back, but only finds 2 yards. 2nd and 8. As they fake the blitz, and we'll just take the check down to Goda. Set up a 3rd and 5. 3rd down and 5. Pelshak back to pass as a man on the drag route again, and it's Emmett Goda again. And how is that 4th and inches? It looked like he was across clear as day. The offense staying on the field. Inches to go for the first. Pelshak will dive forward on the sneak and gets it done. UConn not wanting to settle for 3 if they don't have to. 2 minutes left here in the first half. As Pelshak's back to throw again. And if they keep giving Emmett Goda easy drag routes, we're going to keep giving the kid the ball. Pelshak now on fire for 2nd and 4. Trying to set up a running back screen for Kareem Ursua. And it does finally get set up. And Ursua will go down at the 12 as we rapidly approach the end of the half. 1st and 10 from the 12. Have to reach the 2. As this is thrown for Kareem Ursua. Picks up 4 and the clock keeps moving. Only 20 seconds now left in the half. Pelshak to pass. He wants Beaver, but it's intercepted in the end zone. Juan Beaver had the leverage, and somehow it gets through his hands and into the linebackers. It had been such a great day from John Pelshak, now tainted by an interception. And taking a look at the replay, that is just Beaver getting outmanned in the middle of the field. Not strong enough. Will Alex Trinidad try anything for this TCU offense before the half? They'll just hand it off to Thompson. Really good play from Kevin October, as Thompson would have been free to get a lot more yardage had he not made that tackle. So we head to halftime. Should honestly be a bigger lead for UConn, but it is 24-14 after the defensive score. Let's see if UConn can keep this up in the second half and get out of here with the victory at home. UConn starting with the football here in the second half is a good sign. Hopefully they can add some additional points on this drive. Cadet on the carry and nowhere to go on the outside. On 2nd and 11, Pelshak back to pass, stepping up, maybe looking to scramble, and that is exactly what John Pelshak does, running for the first. It's easy to forget, being that he is 6'6", that John Pelshak is sneaky athletic. He's not fast, but he's not slow. As Cadet will get a carry. Really good block from Jeffrey Ritchie, I believe, on the outside, although I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually Dalton Schmizniak. And I should have guessed that it was the star wideout who has always been an elite blocker on the outside. That is an incredible block. Dalton Schmizniak makes himself involved in every play that he can. Now on 1st and 10 from the 50. Blitz on its way, not picked up. What is that? A miscommunication on the O-line, I guess, reading the blitz. And sliding over to the left is Ort, and then he's not even close to get his assignment. So now a 3rd and 10 situation for the UConn Huskies. Pelshak looking to throw. Wide open over the middle is Kareem Ursua, and that is the easiest 3rd and 10 the Huskies have ever picked up. So now the TCU 31, Max Cadet gets a carry. Tries to find his way to the outside, but is chased down. 2nd and 6, Pelshak back to pass, and he's got Dalton Schmizniak trying to fight for that last yard. Doesn't quite get it. So a 3rd and 1 now for this offense. Cadet will get the carry, finds his way through, and has a first. 2nd down now for UConn. Back to pass is Pelshak. He wants Juan Beaver. Holds on and has 8. So another 3rd and short, but this time it's Kareem Ursua in. And it's not quite a 3rd and 2. It's more like a 3rd and 2.5. Ursua up the middle, spinning, and he's not going to get it. 4th and 1 for UConn. And even the coach suggestions tell us to go for this. It's Wildcat formation. Max Cadet in as the quarterback. 4th and 1. Direct snap. Max Cadet up the gut. He gets it easily. Laid out at the 6. And they'll stay in the Wildcat on 1st and goal. Coming over in motion is Ursua. Ursua ends up with the football. If he has the speed, he's got 6, and he does. Touchdown UConn. Kareem Ursua finishing this one off. Max Cadet, a big part of that drive. Obviously one of the biggest parts of this offense. But Ursua not too shabby himself. UConn extends this lead after the PAT. 31-14. It was 14-3 to start this one, but it's been all UConn ever since. 28 unanswered as Trinidad swallowed up by Darren Michelle and Adonis Keogh. After the loss of 2, it is 2nd down. Trinidad with time to throw. Throws to his running back as I am just at a loss for words at whatever I just saw Nate Putu do, giving up the 1st down. Had ample opportunity to shove the running back out of bounds. Instead, he just lets him run past. Now it's a 1st and 10 near midfield for TCU. Thompson will get another carry. Really good blocking to the outside for Thompson. And a horrible angle taken by Randy Radovich will lead to a touchdown for the running back. TCU scores very quickly for the 3rd time today. On the 3 drives they have scored on, they have done so, I believe, in under 2 minutes every single time. It's going to be 21-31. I don't know what in the world that was from Randy Radovich. At this point, it feels like we're trying to win in spite of the play of our defensive backs. Back-to-back plays there. Weird missed tackle from Nate Putu, and then the most horrific angle you'll maybe ever see from Randy Radovich. So now the offense, only up by 10, would love some more points. 2nd and 11 as Pelshak will step back to throw. And he wants Randy Ty, the tight end too, and he's tackled forward, giving us a first. From the 31 of 1st and 10, Pelshak back to pass, and he wants the tight end again. This time it's Juan Beaver, and he holds on. Pelshak really slinging the rock today, throwing with a lot of velocity. He's going to hand this one off to Cadet, though, and the running game hasn't been super efficient today. 2nd and 9 from the 50. We'll try it through the air. Scrambling is Pelshak, and down he goes, losing a ton of yardage to set up a 3rd and 19. From the 40, Pelshak is back to pass. And he's going to launch one down the field, and it's going to be intercepted, and it's going to be decent to return. Pelshak trying to make the tackle. He will miss. And TCU will start with the football from the 50. That one severely underthrown from John Pelshak, and it's his 2nd interception of the day. The door is wide open for TCU to get back into this one. Need 2 scores to tie it up, or 2 touchdowns to take the lead. Thompson, who has had an elite day, gets another carry here. Just 9 carries for Thompson, but over 100 yards. Not very typical of this rush defense, which is normally quite good. As Trinidad under pressure, and Clyde Novak will bring him down back to the 49, and it's a 3rd and 13 coming up for the Horned Frogs. 3rd and long. 30 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Under pressure again, this time from Darren Michelle. Scrambling is Trinidad, and he will slide down in front of Joshua Dora. 4th and 10, an excellent stop, much needed from the UConn defense. A good punt will start us from our own 10 as we enter the 4th quarter. Max Cadet gonna get a carry, and up the middle, Max Cadet doesn't want to go down. An angry run from Max Cadet leads to a first. Been basically all Max Cadet out of the backfield today. And he will get another one here, trying to stay on his feet. He only ends up with 3. 2nd and 7, Pelshak Back to pass. He lobs one up for Jeffrey Ritchie, who comes down with the football. Jeffrey Ritchie, make a play. Up to the TCU 25. I cannot believe Ritchie came down with that. Jump balls have never been our forte, but Jeffrey Ritchie proving me wrong there. 1st and 10 from the TCU 25, and Cadet's going to get a carry. Trying to stay on his feet again, and Mike Hurd, our left guard, is going to exit with an injury. That brings in last year's starter, Nolan Lindsay. Lindsay, obviously a suitable starter. I mean, we won the national championship with him. 2nd and 6 now, as we'll try to run the ball. Cadet short of the 1st down marker. Just need a few inches here on 3rd down. And Cadet, he's going to get that done. No problem. Not a serious injury for Hurd. It says he will return soon. Nolan Lindsay still in the game, number 52 there, left of the center. 1st and 10 from the 13. 9 minutes left to play in the game. Cadet will get yet another carry. Pickup of 2. Ursua will check in for 2nd and 8. And Ursua gets a carry following his blockers. 3rd down. 4 yards to go for the first 7 yards for 6 more points. Pelshak back to pass. Stepping up, maybe looking to scramble, but down he goes, and it's a 4th and 4 for the Huskies. Pelshak also slow to get up, but no injury indication just yet. So Hollis comes on for 3 insurance points. His kick is no problem. So 3 more for the Huskies. 34-21. 7.5 minutes for TCU to get their first score out of the way. They will need to score twice in order to take the lead. 1st and 10 starting from their own 25 as Trinidad looks to throw, and he runs into David Sun, getting a sack here, a loss of 7, and he's grittying literally on Alex Trinidad. 2nd and 17. Trinidad over the middle, incomplete. Good coverage from Radovich. 3rd and forever for TCU. 6:51 left to play. Trinidad lobbing one downfield. Alex Fayyad is not going to let himself get beat again. Swatting this one away, and they are going for it on 4th and 17. 6:45 left in the game. They have to go for it here. Trinidad with time, a great pocket. I mean, literally all day for Alex Trinidad. Lobbing it into triple coverage, and his man can't come down with it. 1st and 10 UConn taking over in TCU territory, and that could very well be the dagger. 6.5 minutes, chew clock mode now for UConn. Of course, any additional points would be nice. Ursua stays in the backfield as Pelshak will look to throw, and under pressure very quickly. He had his tight end, but didn't have the time. And unfortunately, that did stop the clock. So it's a 3rd and 9 now. Pelshak back to pass. Wants Dalton Schmizniak, and it's swatted down. So on 4th and 9, we'll settle for 3. The kick from Hollis is right down the middle, and it is a 16-point lead for UConn, meaning TCU will need 2 two-point conversions after touchdowns. 1st and 10 TCU now kind of in desperation mode. Trinidad, quick throw, incomplete. Forced out by Radovich. 5.5 to play. Handoff Thompson. That's a little surprising, but it's working out pretty well as he is just inches shy of the 1st. I don't mind them running the football as it chews more clock, so I'm not really going to sell out to the run. If they want to keep going Thompson's way, they can, as they only get a couple yards there. I know it's a 1st, but the clock keeps ticking. Under 5 minutes left to play now. And we are jumping off sides as we always seem to do. This time it's Kevin October. 1st and 5 instead of 1st and 10 now for Trinidad. Play action, throws to his tight end, and that will pick up another 1st. 4 minutes left. Trinidad, time to throw, only a 3-man rush from UConn. Man wide open, steps out of bounds at the UConn 35. So 4 minutes left to be played. Trinidad running out of time. Kevin October's there. He's going to scramble, outrunning Adonis Keogh, who does eventually chase him down, but it's another 1st for TCU. At the UConn 23 now as the clock continues to die. Trinidad, all kinds of time again. A great pocket, running out of time at the end, but he finds his man in the end zone. Good for 6. As I mentioned before, they will have to have 2 successful 2-point conversions in order to just tie this game. So they are, of course, going for 2. Trinidad with Thompson to his right from the 3-yard line, back to pass, running out of time, hit as he throws, finds his man, but it's broken up by David Sun. They are unsuccessful and therefore still down by 2 possessions. So now in desperation mode, they will attempt an onside kick. 3:40 left to be played. Kick is out, and it is recovered by the freshman Emmett Goda. Goes down at the 42, and that could be wraps. They do still have all of their timeouts. So with 3:38, UConn begins to chew the clock. Kareem Ursua will pick up 4. They are not yet using those timeouts. Clock rolling. Cadet back in the game. From the TCU 38, Max Cadet up the middle. He's going to get the first, and that goes a long ways towards closing this one out. We approach the 2-minute timeout, as Cadet will, of course, get another carry. Max Maddox is exiting. That's their star middle linebacker. That timeout actually hurting us as we don't get to the 2-minute timeout just yet. So essentially a free timeout for TCU, and now it's a 3rd and 6. So now we hit the 2-minute timeout. TCU still down 2 possessions. Pelshak actually going to look to throw here and maybe look to scramble, losing the football. It's recovered by TCU. So we don't even get to add the field goal as John Pelshak continues to struggle with ball security here in his sophomore campaign. TCU staying alive. They will still need 2 scores, but they have all of their timeouts and 2 full minutes. So they will look to drive down the field as quickly as possible and try to keep those timeouts preserved. As they throw underneath, that is wild, and immediately burn a timeout. So scratch what I was saying. Clearly they don't mind using those timeouts already. They're going to rely on getting the onside kick as that is completed. Clock ticking, 1:45 left to be played. Trinidad time and dumping it off left side for a pickup of 8. Clock still moving. 1:30 now on a 2nd down and 2. Trinidad. All kinds of time. A great pocket again. Takes another check down, though. And these are just killing the clock. But Adonis Keough is exiting with an injury. That's definitely concerning. So Siaki Toole is actually now lined up as an edge rusher. Otherwise, still the same D-line. Scrambling as Trinidad may take off to run. Hit as he throws by Clyde Novak. And it falls incomplete. Bruised knee for Adonis Keough. 1:15 left. Siaki Toole still in the game as a blitzer. Coming off the edge, it's only a 3-man rush. Comeback route gets out of bounds, and it's a 1st down for TCU. Adonis already back in the game. That is shocking. In very, very quickly. 1st and 10 from the 20 in the red zone now. Good blitz picked up by the halfback. That is completed to the tight end, but again, they are just losing time to these short passes over and over and over again. Makes it a 2nd down and 5 from the 15. There's under a minute now for Trinidad. Takes the check down, and that is completed, and it will get to the 5. They will burn the 2nd timeout. 1st and goal at the 5. Trinidad still going to the air. Blitz not picked up, and down goes Trinidad. It's Siaki Toole once again. If he wasn't already the MVP of this game, I think he locked it up there. They use that last timeout, so they need a score, an onside kick recovery, and another score down by 10. Trinidad running out of time again. Darren Michelle chasing him over the middle. Incomplete. Forced out by Alex Fayad. 3rd and goal from the 11. Trinidad running out of time again. October with the initial pressure and then Novak with the finish. So now it's a 4th down. The game comes down to this. From the UConn 15, Trinidad, what have you got? Good pocket. Time to throw. End zone touchdown TCU. Given up by Nate Putu this time. And the Horned Frogs are still in it. There's only 23 seconds left in the game. They are not going for a 2-point conversion. It obviously makes no sense here. They will settle for the PAT. And then they need an onside kick and a field goal to tie. It's not outside the realm of possibility, but it's not going to be very easy. So here it comes. The onside kick recovery. It's Emmett Goda back there still to try to recover, but instead it's a short one that goes to Justice Willis. He will sit down on the field and the game is over. Pelshak comes on to take a knee. Victory formation for UConn. It wasn't easy, though they were in control for 90% of this one. UConn takes the victory over TCU. 34 is your final. I think that the score is a lot closer than the game really was. We were very much in chew clock mode there late because we had the lead that we did. If we didn't have a 16-point lead, I would have been a lot less conservative with the football. But I think we played it the right way, pretty much left TCU not any real shot to get back in it. I mean, there was definitely some chances here and there, but it all ended up working out. 37-34 is the final, and UConn with the home opener victory. So it wasn't pretty, and we still have a lot of work to do. I do think we figured out a better formula with the DBs, though. I think generally the pass coverage today was a lot better. We are still just negative in terms of turnovers, and that's all Pelshak. Couple interceptions and the fumble. Of course, I know these things are like literally all my fault, and I just need to clean it up. 22 of 33, 307, and a touchdown with 2 picks for Pelshak. He's been kind of a turnover machine this season. If he can clean it up a little bit more, and by he I mean we can definitely be a lot more successful down the stretch. Still working things out with the new offensive line, some new weapons, and rushing the football. It is 26 attempts for Max Cadet, which is too much. I wanted Cadet to be the primary back, but this was way too much being the primary back. I think 20 is probably the max I ever really want him to get, but he did have a good day. I ended up taking him out near the end because his risk of injury was severe, and I am not trying to lose Max Cadet for his senior season. And honestly, Ursua was pretty inefficient in his attempts anyway. So the debut of Emmett Goda, it was a lot more exciting in the first half, but he went 7 for 90. And the interesting thing about this is that he did not line up in the spots I typically throw to, which is like the wide receiver 1 with Dalton Schmizniak and the slot 1, which is Jeffrey Ritchie. But a really good showing from Emmett Goda. I think that this is proof that he is the future at the wide receiver position. You'll probably see him 2 more times this season. I don't want to burn his red shirt, but I do want to see him play a bit, and I think it was a really good showing. Defensively, Nate Putu leads in solo tackles with only 3, and also leads in assists with 7 and total tackles with 10. Dude was all over the place. Darren Michelle leads the way in TFLs along with Kevin October and Clyde Novak, each with 2. Siaki Toole was an absolute machine today. Had the fumble return for a touchdown, had the TFL, had a half a sack. Dennis Colin was also good, and David Sun got to play quite a bit more today, and he was good in his showing. Darren Michelle is also the man who forced the fumble, and he's just getting better by the day. It might be easy to forget, but Darren Michelle is one of our guys with elite development. He has an incredibly high ceiling, and he is only a sophomore. So UConn improves to 2-1 and 1-0 in the Big 12 against one of the tougher opponents, I think, on the season in the conference. So we'll go ahead and advance the week. So here's an update I was not expecting. Dennis Colin is now an extreme transfer risk at the end of the season. Transfers is not something we've had to worry about a lot in this series, but apparently our playing style is not where Dennis Colin wants it. And the issue is very obvious. He is a pass coverage tendency type middle linebacker. We only have 1 interception on the season. So if we don't get those interception numbers, he's a huge risk to transfer. But I'm going to be honest, I was under the assumption that Dennis Colin wouldn't be on the team next year anyway, because I thought he'd declare for the draft at a 93 overall as a junior. So I've sort of been of the mindset that we wouldn't have him next year anyway. And now that's looking even more likely with the deal breaker. But hopefully we can get those interception numbers up. Interceptions typically a huge part of our defense, but not so far this year through 3 games. UConn jumps up 1 position up to 9th. It looks like they leapfrogged Boston College and Auburn, who both suffered losses, but then themselves were leapfrogged by Arkansas, who was 11th last week, jumping all the way to 8th. So only the 1 spot improvement for the Huskies. Georgia's still the 1 seed, Oregon is the 2, and UNC is the 3. Kansas State, who we play in week number 6, is currently ranked 6th and just had a good win against Texas State. And somehow Florida, not playing last week and 1-2 on the season, went from not ranked to 25th. As for recruiting going into next week, we did just lose out on Max Lamb, who was the only quarterback I was really pursuing, so we may have to go look at another one. Quarterback, not a huge need in the future. We did just pick up 2 guys last season who can obviously fill that role if Pelshak decides to go pro, but it wouldn't hurt to get 1 in. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Syracuse is on their way to stealing yet another DB from us in and Heath Muller. But anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and for the continued support. I apologize for the gap between episodes of UConn this past week. With MLB The Show coming out, I wanted to focus on it during the launch week, but now we'll be back to more regular episodes. My plan is to just go back and forth. So if you're watching the MLB series and you're watching UConn, it's just going to be every other day basically. So just be on the lookout for the content you're after. Shout out as always to the channel members. If you want to become a channel member, you can do so by hitting the join button down below for as low as $1 per month. And if you find yourself coming back on the regular but you aren't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that sub button for me. It does help me out a lot, and I will see you guys in the next episode where UConn faces a team I thought was one of the best teams of the Big 12, but currently Texas Tech is 1-3.